Good day.
And good night.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
A beautiful day for some neighbor.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
We got the new Dungeon Masters book that came out.
Oh my God. And everything's on fire.
Yeah. I mean, it's D&D 5.5.
Yeah.
It has been a dumpster fire of a release.
It's basically
but we're here.
It's basically 0.5 at this point. Like,
that's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was originally calling it D&D 24 because it came out in 2024, but like,
it's annoying.
what does that even mean?
Yeah.
You know, what does it mean? What do you mean?
I think I'm going to complain endlessly, even though Wizards has implemented our major ask, our major fix, you know. I think
That they have.
2014 is separating things into 2014 and 2024 is tacky. And I just want them to name it 5.5.
It is. And honestly, just the fact that we're not doing a new release or like a brand new, like when 3.5 came out, it was a separate release from D&D 3.
Yeah.
And now here we are with D&D 5. And it's redheaded step cousin that was released 10 years later. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know, man. I was shit frustrates me, man. The other thing getting out the fucking red string board again. I can't go on a single episode without talking about how I just don't like the way they combined the two systems on D&D Beyond. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
What why?
Just because we have D&D 2014. We have the rules set for all of that. Mm-hmm. And we have the old version of spells, the old version of classes, subclasses, whatever. Everything's legacy this, legacy that, whatever. But they have still automatically integrated the new rules for the 2024 that came out.
Yeah.
Inspiration from the old system is gone. Replaced now by heroic inspiration, which I'm not saying I find any of these changes to be bad. I'm saying that I hate the fact that we were forced to use them.
Is that not toggleable?
No.
Okay.
The only thing that's toggleable is whether or not your character sheet has access to legacy material. Because what they did was, instead of splitting it in two and saying you can use either or, they said, no, we're in the new world. If you want to use the old world shit, you can, but we're going to shame you for it.
That's stupid. No, you're right. You're right. Fucking the monkey's paw really did curl with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Deeply annoying. God.
But, and it's a big but. There's some good shit in the new books. Specifically in the new Dungeon Masters guide.
There is.
We've got bastions.
We've been looking at this one thing in particular. You ever have a base in your campaign?
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone has it. Most people.
Fucking Castle Grayskull.
I feel like a lot of people end up just traveling all the time in their campaigns, which, normal, typical. But sometimes people wind up with a base of operations. Yeah,
and also like normal, typical for D&D campaigns, but not normal, typical for people. No. Like your actual characters. It would be a little strange when you think about it. It is a little strange that they do not have a home, and they are the epitome of murder hobos.
Yeah. Yeah. So. This set of rules for Bastions, this is the whole chapter 8 of the new DMG.
Yeah, there's a whole chapter.
It's extensive. Okay. There are a number of different functions that every type of room can have, and that really is the most extensive part of this chapter is the facilities. You got your
only
basic.
start with like a handful of rooms or something, and then you have to like buy your way.
You build your bastion, and you hire people to work in your bastion. This is an aspect of the game that not everyone will use. I think few will use even.
Yeah,
at least in the first years of this edition. I think if it really catches and takes hold, which I worry about because of how it's been marketed, which I think is shittily.
Yeah.
If this edition takes as a whole, as a unit, then I could see a lot of parties becoming more spoils focused in a way, which is fine in D&D because everyone is a band of miscreants. You're going to be morally gray throughout most of the campaign often.
Right.
You know?
Well, and here's the thing. There are so many campaigns that are already spoils heavy and loot goblins. In those campaigns, they just are basically required to the first piece of loot that they find needs to be a bag of holding.
Yeah.
And then they can just do whatever they want. With Bastion, I mean, yeah, bag of holding is still really nice. But if you've got a home base to head back to and drop stuff in a safe, in a vault, and just be like, all right, let's go back out there.
Yeah.
I think the reason why Bastions are, I'm really excited for them, but I can see why a lot of people would avoid using them, is primarily because they harken back to the D&D days of yore, where your party was pieces on a game board, and everything that you did was for a mechanical benefit. So like spending a little bit of money on a weekly, monthly, whatever basis it is that you pay the hirelings to maintain your keep will provide you with arcane research, crafting items, harvesting fucking, I don't know, maybe you've got farms and they harvest crops to sell to local villages. Like there are a lot of mechanical benefits that you can get from Bastions, and we'll talk about some of them later on. I think where it will be kind of more of an effort to slot Bastions into a campaign is with campaigns that are more story driven. And I don't think there's any reason not to have a Bastion in those types of campaigns. I just think it won't be as quick of an addition. Like it's something that like, if we get to it, we get to it.
Yeah. I think there are plenty of campaigns where a sort of home base already exists that can be adapted into this type of structure mechanically easily.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would go as far as to say that there is something that we have access to in a current campaign that we're in that might fit the bill. Do you know what it is?
Are you thinking about Ito's ship?
I am thinking about Ito's ship.
Okay, yeah, that would be a fucking phenomenal Bastion, actually. Good God.
I think we've described this before, but could you give us a quick rundown on this fucking monolith?
The ship? Yeah, so in our campaign where I am playing my half Oni Rune Knight fighter, his name is Ito Nagahide. We've talked about him in other episodes. Highly encourage you to check those out. They're super fun. He came from a different continent, brought with him like the remnants of the Navy from one of the cities over there. And he is on the flagship of the Navy, which is called the Sapphire Tempest. It is a massive ship. Basically, it was described as being the size of like a little larger than a small riverside village. And it sure do be. Because it housed a large portion of the military and like war bands and things like that from the other continent. So Yeah, very, very large ship. And it would make a lot of sense actually for that to be a bastion because we just recently regained access to it because they dropped Ito off on the continent and they went off to do something else. And now they're back. So we have the ship again.
Access with a caveat.
Yeah, there's demons. Ship's got demons.
Our DM of that campaign, Sophia, your wife, pulled a fast one on us.
Yeah, she fucking did. I'm drinking to forget.
Let's get into some of the mechanics here. Also, part of the reason that came to mind specifically, one, it's big and huge, and you can live on it effectively.
Yeah.
But also because you have many hirelings already created.
Yeah, I do actually. I have a lot of NPCs that technically work for Ito.
There is a salary involved with a bastion. All that I have seen for how that's obtained is each special facility in a bastion generates enough income to pay the salary of its hirelings. And they follow their orders. They're given and are loyal to the bastion's owner. How do you... I don't quite get how that's worded. Is the bastion, by existing, assumed to be generating an income?
I think so. That's kind of what it sounds like to me. Let me find
a little
the exact
weird
portion you're looking at.
A little
special facility in a bastion generates enough income to pay the salary of its hirelings. Hirelings follow the orders. Yeah. To me, basically what that sounds like is like if you have, let's say, an arcane study in your bastion, which is one of the special facilities, and we'll go over a small amount of those because there's a huge list.
There's so many. Too many.
I would imagine if you have a hireling who is like a student of the arcane, that you say, hey, I'm going to shoot in requests every now and then for things I need you to research for me and get me information, blah, 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 blah. In the meantime, handle the arcane study.
Yeah.
I would imagine they're probably doing research for other mages, for other people, places, whatever, in the time when you're not giving them a direct order. Because if you're not at the keep, if you're out adventuring, you probably have a reliable way of sending a message to them and saying, hey, redirect efforts. I need this. You're the boss. So of course they're going to do that. But they're not just going to sit around for the rest of the fucking, 3.5 weeks that you're not there. I would imagine they're probably just providing a service.
That's a good point. And yeah, I keep forgetting that they're like a part of this because, whenever I was reading through the facilities portion, I was imagining like my PC doing the stuff involved with it.
Like being the one at the forge, being the one. Okay.
Which of course, probably the case sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if that's like, built into your character, but like Ito's probably a forge in his bastion from time to time, assuming there's one on board the ship, but I would imagine. I would too.
I would absolutely take the reins from the DM's hand here for a minute and say there is definitely a forge on that ship somewhere. Hirelings and make passive income aside, the passive income of the bastions basically is enough to pay for the hirelings, so it sounds. But there's a lot of different things that you can do with bastions. Like you get a certain amount of these special facilities, and the bastion grows with your character as you level up. So when you first get the bastion, according to the rules that they put in here, obviously this is all subject to change. You can do this however you want. If you're the DM or talk to your DM, you can change this. You can inherit a bastion, and who knows? It doesn't have to happen in this timeline. The way the DMG talks about it here is that you acquire the bastion at level 5. And this is like one character, one bastion type thing. Your bastion has like 2 or 3 rooms that are non-special facilities or basic facilities, like a kitchen, a living space, a bedroom, like things like that. And then you can spend time and money to build defensive walls around the bastion to make it a little more safer from invasion or siege or anything like that. And then at level 9, you gain 2 special facilities. You gain 2 more at level 13 and 2 more again at 17. So that would leave you with 6 special facilities total. Special facilities are insane. Where's my list of them? Yeah. Arcane Study, Armory, Barracks, Garden, Library, Sanctuary, Smithy, Storehouse, Workshop, Gaming Hall, Greenhouse, Laboratory, Sacristy. Not entirely certain what they mean by that one, because that's a word I've never seen before, but I'll find out.
A room in a church where a priest prepares for a service and where vestments and other things in worship are kept.
Oh, holy water.
Yeah.
I should have been able to guess
of
that.
holies.
Heck yeah. You can also get a scriptorium, a stable, a teleportation circle. Love that they added that as a specific piece of the bastion and not something you have to fucking put in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
A theater, training area, trophy room, archive, meditation chamber, menagerie, observatory, pub, reliquary. I'm not done yet. Demiplane. You can put in a demiplane. And a guild hall, and a sanctum, and a war room.
Now, mind you, I looked up at the light like I was looking at the camera, and I blinded myself. Mind you, we just read those in order of the levels that you're able to obtain them in.
Yeah.
So when you get to specifically Demiplane, Guild Hall, Sanctum, and War Room, you cannot add those rooms to your bastion until you reach level 17. Okay.
It's true.
Let's not get crazy.
Yeah, that's not a level 9 accessibility
which is
thing.
good because I was like reading, for example, Demiplane earlier, and it was like, this is broken as shit.
Right?
You know?
Why are you giving this to someone?
I say that because I'll get ahead of us a little bit here. It's a door up to 5 feet wide and 10 feet tall that appears on a flat solid surface in one of the other facilities in your bastion. It's a secret room. Okay. You choose location. If you're in your bastion during a bastion turn, we'll talk about those. You can relocate this door to another facility in your bastion. Only you and your hirelings can open it, and it leads to a demiplane that takes the form of a stone room. It exists in an extra dimensional space and therefore isn't attached physically to other locations in your bastion. Neither the demiplane nor its door can be dispelled. For those who have seen ReZero, it makes me think of the library. When you issue the Empower order to this facility, magical runes appear on the demiplane's walls and last for 7 days. Until the runes disappear, you gain temporary hit points equal to 5 times your level after spending an entire long rest in the demiplane. So you go to sleep in the thing after empowering it, and you get a neat little buff out of it.
That's insane.
You walk out of there.
That's more than a neat little buff, dude.
This is sleeping on the soft bed in Zelda.
This is potentially 100 temporary hit points.
Yeah.
That is wild shit.
Also, you can use fabrication while in the demiplane. You can take a magic action, don't know what that is, to create a non-magical object of your choice from nothing, causing it to appear in an unoccupied space in the demiplane. The object can be no bigger than 5 feet in any dimension, can't have a value over 5 GP, must be made of wood, stone, clay, porcelain, glass, paper, non-precious crystal, or non-precious metal. You must finish a long rest before you can take this action again.
A magic action is the antithesis of the attack action. They renamed. They just renamed it in the D&D 5.5.
That's
so rather than using your action to cast a spell, you now take the magic action to cast a spell.
Sure. Okay.
Yep.
New edition.
But anyway, I'm not going to go through all of the different special facilities on here because, like, it would turn into the entire episode.
But you got a taste of it there. Like, there are specific actions that you can take in every facility. They all do specific things. Some of them give you a buff.
Yeah. Also, one of the coolest things that I think about Bastions here is that it gives that one player at your party an excuse to dust off Sims 4.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. No, I get it. Actually, you're so right about this. You really are so right about this. Sophia plays so much Sims 4. Like the most I've ever known anyone to do so. And this would, like, she would absolutely make whatever bastion we end up with in any campaign.
Yeah. She'd
be like, this is where everything is.
We had the thought she's probably already doing it.
This is everyone's bedroom. She's sneezing.
Yeah, very much so.
It's very important to maintain your facilities. Did we talk about the requirements for that? We didn't talk about turns and all that. Okay. Let's talk about turns. As time passes in a campaign, players take bastions turns to reflect the activity occurring in their bastions, whether or not the characters are present. On a bastion turn, a character can issue order to special facilities in their bastion or issue the maintain order to the entire bastion. It sounds like it's saying you can issue orders to as many facilities as you want, special facilities as you want. Am I misreading that?
I don't know.
It could be either.
You're not wrong.
It seems like
I just
is more
can't
than
tell if
one.
you're right. Yeah, on a bastion turn, a character can issue orders to the special facilities in their bastion. I think you're right. But yeah, bastion turns are kind of interesting. Again, you can change this, do this at whatever frequency you want. But in the DMG, it says by default, a bastion turn occurs every 7 days of in-game time. So
it does also say specifically that you may extend the length of turns to suit the needs of your campaign.
Cool. I missed that.
Yeah.
Good. You've been approved. You can go longer if you want.
That was my initial concern because, like, we'll read later on that, like, if you leave your shit alone for too long, it'll go away violently. It'll get looted.
Yeah.
Your people will rebel, but you can you can change it up a little bit depending on your needs.
You know what I do like about this, and I just saw this little snippet on one of the like examples of how to take a bastion turn. This really, really does help with the whole aspect of downtime in a campaign.
Oh, you're right. I wasn't thinking about that, but we have talked about downtime a little bit.
We've especially talked about wanting to include that and wanting to give mechanics for downtime.
Oh, yeah.
One of the examples for bastion turns here was, say, if you're going with the whole like every 7 days thing, they are like your party is taking a break. They're in the middle of something. They need to do research. They go back to their bastion. You say, okay, you're going to be there for 6 weeks. Go ahead and resolve 6 bastion turns.
Yeah.
What do you want the things? What do you want accomplished while you're here? And then in the middle of that, you can have a player go like, oh, by the way, I wanted to have a conversation with so-and-so. Oh, by the way, I wanted to do this. And it's like, it really opens up a lot more role play and a lot more downtime specific things.
Yeah. This is very good because, like, you know, time skips and shit happen.
Yeah.
This is a great way to spend those. Oh, in the downtime, man. Okay. This is a great synergy that they've got going between those two overarching mechanics.
Yeah.
And I'm into it.
And what better way to segue into the orders you can give when then talking about the bastion turns?
You can craft.
Hell yeah.
Okay, it does say to one or more of their bastion special facilities.
Good.
That does answer
okay,
that.
Good specification.
You don't have to issue orders to all of them. That makes sense. Maintain order is issued to the whole bastion rather than one or more special facilities. If a character isn't in their bastion on a given bastion turn, it acts as though it were issued the maintain order on that turn unless the owner can communicate with the bastion hirelings using the sending spell or similar magic. That's what I was wondering about that interaction specifically. That makes sense to me.
That's good. At least it's not like fucking Civilizations or one of those stupid games where like you don't tell them to do something, they just stand there going,
Yeah. So you can craft. Hirelings in the special facility craft an item that can be needed in that facility. During the time required to craft an item, the facility can't be used to craft anything else, even if a special ability allows the facility to carry out 2 orders at once. The hirelings have proficiencies with artisan's tools as specified in the facility's description.
Nice.
You can empower. You confer a temporary empowerment to you or someone else.
Nice.
You can harvest, gather a resource produced in the special facility. During the time required to harvest a resource, the facility can't be used to harvest anything else, even if a special ability allows the facility to carry out 2 orders at once. Maintain. All of your hirelings focus on maintaining the bastion rather than executing orders. Issuing this order prohibits other orders from being issued on the current bastion turn. Each time this order is issued, the DM rolls once on the bastion events table at the end of this chapter, which are resolved before the end of the next bastion turn. Let me jump to that actually because it's important and funny. So these rolls, you roll a D100, right?
Mm-hmm.
1 to 50 is all is well. 51 to 55 is attack. You get fucking raided. 56 to 58 is criminal hireling. 59 to 63 is extraordinary opportunity. 64 to 72 has friendly visitors to your establishment. 73 to 76 is a guest. I wonder, we'll have to see what the difference is between friendly visitors and guests. 77 to 79 is lost hirelings. Oh no. 80 to 83 is magical discovery. 84 to 91 refugees. 92 to 98 request for aid. And 99 to zeros is treasure.
100, yeah.
It's 100, but it's zeros.
It's true. It is zeros. Yeah. Each one of those events has its own separate tables you can roll on to figure out what exactly that means. And oh yeah, man, there's so much that this can provide to a story, and I fucking love it. Obviously, like I said, we could take an entire episode to go through every single detail about all of this, but like,
I'll say though, there's not an incredible amount of thought you have to put into any of these.
As far as like just making it happen in the campaign?
Yeah, as far as resolving it.
Oh yeah.
And also role playing it really. Like for if your bastion gets attacked, for example, roll 66 for each die that rolls a 1, bastion defender dies. Remove these bastion defenders from your roster. If a bastion has 0 defenders, one of the special facilities is damaged and forced to shut down. A special facility that shuts down can't be used on your next bastion turn, after which it's repaired and made operational again at no cost to you. So like,
that's so easy.
Yeah, that's very easy to resolve.
That's just like a 2-minute thing of like, okay, you lost 3 people, but everything's okay.
Yeah. And like this module is doing a lot of back end work for you, which I think is good, because when you're adding something this huge, you don't want it to become a distraction, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it does. I think they struck a pretty good balance with that while designing this.
Yeah, I will say, for all my frustrations with the new edition and everything, new Dungeon Master's Guide is great. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy it. Definitely am going to be looking at getting at least a copy of the Player's Handbook and the DM's Guide for my paper library.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the same. I am interested just to have these on me at the very least. Speaking of which, the DMG also comes with a nice formatted tracker for your bastion. I'm sure there will be plenty in the coming weeks and months that are a little more specialized. That'll be, downloadable by creators online.
Yeah.
I like what we've got going on here. Is there anything else that we need to specifically mention?
I don't think so. I think that's a really good intro to Bastions.
Yeah. Highly encourage you to take a look at this chapter of the DMG by whatever means you see fit. And dig into it a bit, because if you have a base of any type in your campaign, or are planning on maybe directing your players to one, this could actually be really helpful for you. This has the potential to save you, I think, in my opinion, a lot of trouble and a lot of planning.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like doing stuff yourself. And of course you can play The Sims and get as crazy with it as you want, and get as detailed with the maintenance of your bastion as you wish. And the character. Good stuff, man. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's about that time of the episode. It's time for Summon Greater soundtrack.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. We kind of went straight into the content here. A treat for you guys, but we do have songs.
What you got, man?
I have a song. It's by Peter Sayuni, but the song is called I've Become the Enemy. Very self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. But a beautiful song, no less. And it really can be used in a number of different ways in a campaign. But what really struck me for this one was, and I do actually have one specific character in my head that I think would be interesting to see if they wind up going down this road. A character from a respectable town, background, city, something or other. Some tragedy befalls them, and they go off on their adventure to make it right or avenge someone or something, who knows. And somewhere along the way on that journey, they have a moment of realization that they are becoming worse or aggressive in a way that they never wanted to be, or something like that. Yeah. And they have this moment of like realization that they are no longer the bastion of good that they used to be, and they are concerned about that. It just could be a really, really powerful moment of, like, you know, maybe confronting another character in the party and expressing this fear, or expressing this, like, I feel like I'm part of the problem now, not part of the solution. And obviously it can be used for morally heart-wrenching BBEGs or things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my moment.
That's cool, man. I like that. Yeah. I've got a character I've played that comes to mind for that kind of thing. So, yeah. That's cool.
Hell yeah. What you got?
Okay. I have to preface this. Something crazy happened this week.
Fucking nerd.
Really crazy. Something really crazy happened this week, man. Xenoblade Chronicles X is getting a remaster. A definitive edition, as it were.
That sounds pretty definitive.
This game is huge, like in scope, and also important to me. I played a lot of this game during high school, and there are a lot of things in this game that are just like great homebrew food for me. And I think in particular, this game out of all the Xenoblade games has my favorite monster designs. And some of those are probably going to show up in the future in some form in some campaign of mine, because they're cool and they're awesome, amongst various other things in this game. But a big part of this game is traversing it. There are 5 massive continents that all have their own day and night theme as you explore them, and they become seared into your mind. So I've pulled the day theme from the first one as just an experience of traversing, or if we were to specify a bit, I could see this being used in the journey en route to a very important mission. And perhaps the battles that you may come across on the way.
See, I can even imagine that as like actual boss music too.
Yeah.
It's just good.
So yeah, I think you're right about that possibly being boss music as well. The thing about trying to use VGM for D&D is that like it's hard to fit a lot of the time.
It doesn't translate as well as you'd hope it would.
It often doesn't. And I think this game, I think Xenoblade in particular, try as I might, it's actually rather difficult to find music that fits appropriately for a D&D campaign. The role that music plays is different.
Yeah.
You know, you need something more stimulating that is replaced in a TTRPG by the GM.
Right.
And whatever music they choose to add behind their voice. This is just an overworld theme in Xenoblade X, but like it would be more appropriate as like a battle theme or even like a really big one, like a boss theme in your TTRPG. So,
but it also really depends on the environment and the situation too. Because like I could see that being, like you said, traveling leading up to or something really important. Like in video games, like you said, the music plays a different role. And in Xenoblade, one of the big things that the music does is keep you hyped as fucking hell for like the entirety of the game.
Basically.
And like in D&D, you have moments where the hype is real, but you also have moments where it's like, okay, we need to come down from the hype and we need to like chill and whatever. So I think that's a really, really good one for like ramping up to something.
Yeah, I agree. Of course, as always, these songs that we've talked about today will be down in the description. We have a playlist link to Spotify. Summon Greater Soundtrack is what that's called if you want to follow the playlist.
And honestly, send us your song recommendations too.
Yeah.
We'll throw that in our little tag at the end. But
yeah, send us shit you have used in your campaigns or want to.
On to the big one.
This has been kind of a long time coming.
Yeah, we've had this in the wings. We just haven't had a good place to slot it in yet.
Our buddy Josh sent us this a little while ago, several weeks ago.
What a guy he is.
He has sent us stuff before. What was the last thing he sent us?
He sent us shields.
Yeah, he sent us the shields from God knows what episode that was. This is a whole class.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting it to be as expansive as it is when I read the email, but after opening it and reading through it, I have to say I'm quite excited about the scope of what Josh has presented us.
Yeah. I mean, I am too. I know, like, look at the big brains on Brad. Like, this guy comes up with the most insane shit. It's so cool. And this is no exception. There's so much content in here. Like, this class is 5 pages long. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that includes subclass, but subclass works a little differently for this class because it's a really unique one. Honestly, and a little ironically, what awesome timing to have the opener for this episode be Bastions, where we were talking about hirelings and common people in the world. And the main point of this episode is Josh's citizen class. Mm-hmm. You are just a dude.
Yeah.
And you develop your skills as you go. Pretty much without magic, pretty much without combat expertise.
Yeah.
You're just a helpful person.
Let me read his elevator pitch here. Many residents from magical faraway lands hold great power and skill, be it through trial by fire or divine blessing. This class, however, brings to light the common folk who fell into the story differently and most times unintentionally. Perhaps you're a banker that was rescued by a heroic party after being kidnapped by robbers, or you were a shopkeeper that bought, traded, or sold the wrong item at the wrong time. Or maybe even a fisherman that showed an act of kindness to a group or maybe even a fisherman that showed an act of kindness to a group who asked to borrow your boat and wanted you to join in on their adventures. Perhaps you're a Peter. I think that's exactly what he was doing there.
Simon Peter, put down your net and follow me.
I think that's exactly what he was
We
thinking.
see you, Josh. We see you.
Oh, no.
Just the ultimate cleric.
Okay, let's talk about it. A D6 hit die per level.
I've been Velcroed. No, get off of me.
You got 6 hit points at plus 6 points at good lord first level plus your Constitution mod, and then a D6 or 4 plus your Constitution modifier per citizen level after first.
Mm-hmm.
No armor proficiencies. You get a simple weapon proficiency every choice. No tools. 2 saving throws every choice, and then 3 skills from animal handling, history, insight, and investigation, nature, medicine, perception, performance, persuasion, religion, or survival.
I like that a lot. Specifically, it's funny to me. You are not proficient with armor at all.
Yeah.
You are proficient with one simple weapon. Like, you can have a dagger or like a dart.
Or like a quarterstaff. The roots of your home run deep as you've settled in the way of normal life. You have a reliable and trustworthy contact who acts as your liaison to a network of people in your hometown or city. You know how to get messages to and from your contact even over great distances. Specifically, you know the local messengers, caravan masters, and sailors who can deliver messages for you. Additionally, you are considered a respectable citizen of your hometown and are respected as such unless you commit a crime, intentionally do harm to people in your hometown. You have a positive reputation in your hometown, and other fellow citizens think positively of you. You may also be considered such at any other village, town, or city that you have spent more than a week's time in without attempting anything that would otherwise ruin said reputation. This class is unique in that you can multi-subclass. Each subclass, known as a career, has 5 promotions that show your proficiency in the career. It's cool. The promotions are hobbyist, apprentice, expert, master, and veteran, each granting their own abilities. At the second level, you may choose your first career, beginning at the hobbyist promotion. You may choose to upgrade a current career by 1 promotion or choose an additional career at the beginning promotion every 2 levels beginning at 4th level.
This is one of my favorite parts of this class, dude.
Yeah.
Specifically because like the careers that he has on here are phenomenal. He has banker, cook, guard, and professor.
Uh-huh.
Like they're just everyday average things you might find in any city.
Yeah.
And there's cool fucking abilities for all of them at each promotion level too. Like this is really
you'll
fun.
see there's like a lot of room for expansion. Like obviously there's so many occupations that a citizen of any environment could have.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would not be hard at all to slot in more subclasses.
No. Yeah, there's a lot of plasticity with this class.
Mm-hmm.
So as you experience dangers and victory during your new adventure beyond the safety of your comfort zone, you bravely learn to stand firm. At 3rd level during combat, you can gain stacks of confidence by completing different activities that can be spent to increase your chances of defeating your enemies. All stacks of confidence are lost at the end of combat. You gain a stack of confidence when you make a successful attack against an enemy. An attack made against you fails or misses. You cast a spell that successfully grants you or an ally a buff, or you heal yourself or an ally. You can spend stacks of confidence to grant you different bonuses. Spending stacks does not require an action. You may spend as many stacks on any combination of bonuses, and you can only spend on your turn. For 3 stacks, you can add +1 to your next ability check. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I have stuff to say in a second.
Oh, yeah.
To your next ability check, attack roll, or damage roll.
Mm-hmm.
You can use 5 stacks to raise your AC by +2 until the beginning of your next turn. You can use 7 to gain 5% of your max health, rounded down. And then 10 to gain resistance to your choice of any damage type for 3 rounds.
Dang.
That's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did it say there was a max amount of stacks?
No.
No, there isn't at all.
Mm-mm.
Man, this is great. This holy crap. Okay. He's actually doing the thing that I would want most to implement into combat in, like, if I were to make my own system.
Yeah, or like the flow of combat and how successful you are kind of affects the way the rest of it goes.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to refrain from talking about Xenoblade and Xenosaga. It's doing boost from Xenosaga and fucking tension from Xenoblade. Okay, I'm done. At the same time.
I guarantee we will have more episodes about Xenoblade.
I'm gnawing at the bars of my enclosure, man. I'm crazed. What's wrong with me?
Oh,
fuck.
Man. I can run my fingernail across the veins on your neck right now and you'd bleed out. Like that one kid in the meme.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Everyone knew the kid that would do that at the lunch table. Pasty white to sunburn, 3 seconds flat. Those kids were freaks, dude.
Uh-huh.
And they have brain damage now.
Yeah.
From doing that.
And probably shit themselves multiple times.
Oh my God. Feel the flow of battle. That's what we're doing here.
Uh-huh.
I love shit like this so much. I love specifically the way that you get confidence. Again, you make a successful attack against an enemy, any successful attack against an enemy. Let's make that clear. If you have multiple attacks per turn, those are all getting you confidence, okay? That's crazy. If an attack made against you fails or misses, there's crazy. Like, I'm thinking of subclass potential, first of all.
Yeah.
Like monk, rogue, and shit. Ooh. Cast a spell that successfully grants you or an ally a buff, heal yourself and an ally. A little bit of everything here. It's all good. Yeah. It's all so good.
Honestly, I could see confidence, like specifically this confidence mechanic, being something that I could pull this block out from this class and put it anywhere.
You could put it
D&D.
in the system.
Right. That's the thing. It's like you could implement it just as a DM and be like, for this fight,
yeah,
like this specific enemy plays mind games, whatever. I'm going to implement confidence for you and like despair as like a negative one.
Yeah.
Like you could play this up so hard in any given situation. Mm-hmm. It does not have to be exclusive to Citizen, but the fact that it is on Citizen, I think, is what makes Citizen viable in any sense.
I think that's so true, actually.
And I think it is so necessary, and this is exactly the best way you could have possibly.
We haven't gotten to subclasses yet, so there will be more in terms of combat.
Right, but specifically with the guard subclass, there's going to be a little more in there. But
this, if the rest of what we read here is shit, it won't be. No, Josh, that you nailed this specifically. This is, I love it.
Confidence is phenomenal. Probably going to steal it or use it as an inspiration for something.
Let's talk about learning to survive. Having now been on some dangerous missions, you've had to adapt quickly to stay alive. Starting at 5th level, you can add half your proficiency bonus rounded down to any ability check you make that doesn't already include your proficiency bonus. You get, it's basically the same thing as Jack of all trades.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
Also, side note, can we talk about how fucking funny, and I see this too. I saw you, Josh. Don't worry. I found your cool little Easter egg here. How funny the names of the abilities are from start to finish.
Oh, yeah.
Loyal citizen, providing for loved ones, building confidence, and now learning to survive. Yeah. Like, it's like you're telling a whole story.
Yeah, there's a clear progression in the subtitles here.
Yeah, it's great. So fun. I love this.
I have to say, if you've played Risk of Rain Returns, there's this type of build exists in many games, many roguelikes specifically, where there's there's this joke character new to Returns called Robo Mando. And it's similar to like the initial Commando character you start out with, except worse and dumber, but it scales faster. Its stats scale faster than everyone else's. So it can become like a menace. Like it starts out jack of all trades, master of none, and becomes jack of all trades, master of just about fucking everything.
Dang.
Right.
That's kind of cool.
That's sort of the mentality I see going into this. Like,
yeah.
We are playing into the fact that there is no consistent strength.
Yeah.
In the class.
There's no like obvious, this is the path you're meant to take this because that's how it's going to work best. Mm-hmm. Like it's beautifully vague.
Yeah. Which makes it really easy to use in any campaign at all.
Mm-hmm. Specifically, what popped into my head while we were researching and reading up on all this. This is if we continue to add more subclasses based on professions is the word I was looking for. This is the absolute perfect class to use to create NPCs.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, especially in a situation if it's I think of the party picking up something that you're picking up somebody as a companion that you're not ready for them to do that with. Like they just roll high persuasion and say, "Hey, come join us."
Right.
You slap this on them and like it'll work.
And that's the thing is like what I would do for this if I'm using this for NPCs, like you said, it's an NPC that is purely just a fucking dude or a fucking lady that they're just like, we want you to come hang out with us. And this person's like, oh, okay. I would start them at level 1 citizen. For each combat that they do not die, I would level them up by 1 in citizen.
Jeez, that's crazy, dude.
Because here's the thing. They're probably not going to go with your party to every single combat.
Yes.
I would imagine your party's going to go, maybe we should keep our teeny tiny little ladies safe and not bring them to fight against these demons or this thing.
Jesus Christ.
But every now and then, if that person winds up in a combat, I'm going to give them, and I'm not going to be like increasing their stats, giving them feats or like drastically increasing their hit points. I'm going to let them get slightly more hit points. But essentially what I'm going to do is give them the next level of abilities from the citizen class.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily making them like a monstrously overpowered citizen. I'm basically just saying like, you've seen some shit. You're like learning how to not die.
Home among my people. Let's talk about it. As someone who has lived in civilized locations, you know your way around and are familiar with how most towns work and cities work. At 7th level, after spending at least 8 hours in a village, town, or city, you become one with it and gain knowledge of the surrounding area. Above ground, you gain knowledge of the area within 1 mile of you. In sewers and other underground settings, you gain knowledge of the area within 600 feet of you. Damn. You instantly gain knowledge of up to 3 facts of your choice about any of the following subjects as they relate to the area. Terrain and bodies of water, prevalent buildings, plants, animals, or intelligent creatures, powerful celestials, fae, fiends, elementals, or undead. Crazy.
Dang.
Legends, as it were.
Yeah.
Influences from other planes of existence, magical or electrical currents, signals, and active transportation routes and times. It's giving tradesmen.
Yeah, it's giving like you've read the subway map and you've listened to people say, hey, I heard there's a weird fucking thing in the forest out there.
It's like you can look at a transformer station and tell me how the entire city's power grid works.
Right.
You know?
As opposed to like some big muscly adventurer who comes in and goes, citizen, tell me what day it is. Yeah. And it's like, okay.
we're building out the street smarts.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Small victories. You've learned to see success in both the great and small things, which have helped you to learn more ways to bolster your bravery. At 9th level, you gain a stack of courage. We've got another stacking mechanic here. You gain a stack when you succeed on a saving throw. You cast a spell that successfully grants a debuff on an enemy. You make a successful critical strike against an enemy. An enemy critically fails when making an attack or casting a spell against you. Those are the 4 ways.
So that's in addition to the other list.
Correct.
So by the end of this, you're just going to have fucking courage out the wazoo.
Getting the hang of things. You've made it through many things that have taught you what you need to know. At 11th level, you choose 2 of your skill proficiencies. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check that you make that uses either of those 2 proficiencies. At 17th level, you can choose another 2 proficiencies that gain this benefit.
Expertise, baby!
Yeah. Good stuff.
Never bad. Never bad.
Brave and true. Your courageous victories have grown you beyond what you thought possible. At 13th level, you may spend 20 stacks of bravery.
Yeah, I think this is all the same mechanics.
Confidence.
I'm calling it confidence. I like confidence best.
I do too, yeah. To guarantee a critical strike on your next attack, guarantee a miss on the next attack roll made against you, automatically succeed on your next saving throw. Those are the 3 things.
And that's 20 stacks.
20 stacks for each of those.
Okay, so it would have to be kind of a long combat, but my God, that's nice.
It would, or, this is 13th level, more shit's happening.
That's so fair.
Yeah.
That is extremely valid.
Not so new at this. This life you've found has helped you gain memories and skills you will never forget. By 15th level, you will have refined your chosen skills until they approach perfection. Whenever you make an ability check that lets you add your proficiency bonus, you can treat a d20 roll of 11 or lower as a 12.
Ooh.
Wow.
Dude, add that with expertise. You
that
have
is
suddenly
silly.
become an extremely talented person.
I like the way this works.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a little bit better and slightly worse than the rogues thing, which is any D20 roll of 9 or lower is treated as a 10.
Yeah.
As long as you have proficiency in it. But rogues get their expertise way earlier.
Uh-huh.
So I'm super okay with this.
I think that it makes a lot of sense to have that kind of ability on this class.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing here is hope never dies. Life has taught you one thing. As long as you draw breath, you can face any trial with confidence. At 19th level, the amount of stacks of confidence you gain are doubled.
Yo!
From any source.
That suddenly makes you a viable threat in combat.
That's a really cool dude.
Oh, man. I could go on about this for hours. Literally hours. This is so much fun.
Yeah. Y'all, I really want to hear what you think about this. I want to hear your multi-class ideas, for one.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that'll be our opener for next week.
I think so, yeah.
I'll try to put together some multi-class thoughts with Citizen.
Yes.
And then we can talk about the actual Citizen subclasses.
Uh-huh. Yeah, here's the thing. We're running out of time. So we are absolutely going to continue with this first thing next episode, talking about the subclasses, because this rabbit hole only goes deeper. But so far, this is one of the coolest things we've ever been sent. I'm going to say it. And we can't wait to cover more of it. So we will get to that next time around. But until then, send us whatever this episode has inspired you to homebrew.
Heck yeah.
summongreaterpod@gmail.com or @summongreater on Twitter. We want to hear it.
And song recommendations.
Recommendations for Summon Greater soundtrack. Thank you so much for listening.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Please, please, please interact with us because we want more people to find us and we want to hear more awesome homebrew stuff.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.